His name was Willie Lynch. And there's a letter that says, "The making of a slave." This is also where lynching comes from. And as you would know or be aware of, lynching happened across the world where there were black people. There were plantations in South Africa in the form of wine farms, plantations in Brazil in the form of sugar farms and tobacco farms in the Caribbean. In the US, we know, and many were lynched when they tried to run away. And the lynching also took other forms, right? The lynching became many other things. Dogs biting on the heels of our feet, being drowned, being duped in alcohol. The lynching became abstract. The lynching became other things. They did other things with that. So, yeah, I just want to add that it is important to note what we mean by house nigger, or what was meant by house nigger, and why black women could be read outside of that frame of reference, as they were seen as house slaves mostly than house niggers. There's something to be looked at about house niggers. You know, this term, though birthed in the US and has its roots there, has lived in many ways in other parts of the world where black people are, right? The US is the diaspora of blackness. You know, we all know where blackness comes from. It comes from this continent, from Africa, and everywhere else where we find black people is the diaspora. Whether one traces themselves back to Africa or not. But this is the cradle of humankind. And so it's important to think about what these terms mean, because who gets to be in the house, the Parliament House? How many men can we count in those houses? And what happens there? So yeah, you know, we also want to add that, you know, I think more than anything that we have done as black women the world over is beyond resist. We insist that we're here. With every birth, with every pregnancy, we dare to imagine ourselves into existence and insist in our presence. We exist in that line, in that chord, in that tempo, in that breath of imagining ourselves into existence and creating emancipatory practices that allow us to do that with our poetry, with our songs, with our short stories, with our essays, with our bodies. And so, this is all to say, we need our black men to imagine otherwise. We need them to prepare themselves otherwise. We need them to redraw the lines of their cartography, to include us in the circle, in the revival, not as space holders, but as those who stand beside them and who've always stood beside them. That it is time for them to know they are flowers, and we've been watering the garden for so long, and we'd like the flower to wilt. In so doing, its seeds can fall back and the petals can fall back onto the soil and be reborn, grounded and rooted and fortified, and also holding the feminine energy. And in so doing, redrawing the line of aliveness towards us as well.